8th grade life science, pedigree analysis, and polygenic traits. What is a pedigree? When you're talking about a pedigree dog, it means that the dog is purebred. Through selective breeding, the dog has all the traits of that particular breed. When talking about genetics, however, a pedigree is a chart that helps show family relationships. Pedigree analysis. A pedigree is a chart that shows the inheritance of a trait over several generations. A pedigree is commonly created for families, and it outlines the inheritance patterns of genetic disorders and traits. A pedigree can help predict the probability that offspring will inherit a genetic disorder or a trait. Pictured here is a pedigree displaying the recessive inheritance of a disorder through 3 generations. From studying a pedigree, scientists can determine the following. If the trait is sex-linked, or on a Y or X chromosome, or if it's autosomal, which means it's on a chromosome that does not determine sex, or if the trait is inherited in a dominant or recessive fashion. Sometimes pedigrees can also help determine whether individuals with the trait are heterozygous, having 2 different alleles, or homozygous, having 2 of the same alleles. Some points to keep in mind when analyzing a pedigree are, with autosomal recessive inheritance, all affected individuals will be homozygous recessive. With dominant inheritance, all affected individuals will have at least 1 dominant allele. They will either be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. And with sex-linked inheritance, more males, XY, than females, XX, usually have the trait. Sex-linked inheritance is usually recessive. Symbols of a pedigree and an example of a pedigree. In a pedigree, square symbolizes males and circles represent females. A horizontal line joining a male and a female indicates that the couple had offspring. Vertical lines indicate offspring, which are listed left to right in the order of their birth. Shading of a circle or square indicates an individual who has the trait being traced. In this pedigree, the inheritance of the recessive trait is being traced. Capital A is the dominant allele and lowercase a is the recessive allele. And now let's look also at polygenic traits. Are all people either short or tall? Unlike Mendel's P's, people do not fall into 2 categories, short or tall. Most people, in fact, are somewhere in between. Obviously, Mendel's rules are too simple to explain the inheritance of human height. Another exception to Mendel's rules is polygenic inheritance, which occurs when a trait is controlled by more than 1 gene. This means that each dominant allele adds to the expression of the next dominant allele. Usually, traits are polygenic when there is a wide variation in the trait. For example, humans can be many different sizes. Height is a polygenic trait controlled by at least 3 genes with 6 alleles. If you are dominant for all of the alleles for height, then you will be very tall. There is also a wide range of skin color across people. Skin color is also a polygenic trait, as are hair and eye color. Polygenic inheritance often results in a bell-shaped curve when you analyze the population. That means that most people fall in the very middle of the phenotypic range, as such for average height, while very few people are at the extremes, such as very, very tall or very, very short. There may be 4 or 6 or more alleles involved in the phenotype. At one end of the curve will be individuals who are all recessive for all the alleles, for example, lowercase a, lowercase a, lowercase b, and lowercase c, and lowercase c. At the other end, the individuals will have all the dominant alleles, for example, all capitals of AA, BB, and CC. Through the middle of the curve will be individuals who have a combination of the dominant and recessive alleles. For example, capital A, lowercase a, capital B, lowercase b, capital C, lowercase c, or even something like capital A, lowercase a, capital B, and lowercase c. Now let's summarize. A pedigree is a chart which shows the inheritance of a trait over several generations. From studying a pedigree, scientists can determine if a trait is sex-linked or autosomal. In polygenic inheritance, a trait is controlled by more than one gene. Examples of polygenic inheritance include height or skin color.